This episode of Walt Disney World Today is sponsored by MEI and Mousefan Travel, who specialize in cruises and vacation packages to Disney and other destinations around the world. MEI and Mousefan Travel is an authorized Disney vacation planner. They provide their signature services with no additional agency fees. To get your free no-obligation quote, visit www.mousefantravel.com.
This is Walt Disney World Today. Give us 5 minutes and we'll give you the world.
It's Wednesday, March 4th, 2009, and this is episode 534 of WDO Today. I am Matt Hodgman of StudioCentral.com. Joining me on today's show is Mike Scopa, a senior feature writer and blogger at allears.net. Welcome, Mike.
Cinderella, your prince is here.
Great movie ride?
Wrong park.
Timekeeper?
Right park, right land.
Tomorrowland.
It's not the Indy Speedway.
Is it Stitch?
It is Stitch.
Ooh.
Can you tell the notice? Well, also joining us on today's show is Mike Newell of Mouse World Radio. Hi, Mike.
Thanks for having me back, Matt. Have a great time.
And also joining me on today's show is Len Testa, co-author of the Unofficial Guide to Walt Disney World. Welcome on.
Matthew!
Moving on, we also have the fabulous Annette Owens of MEI and Mousefan Travel. Welcome, Annette.
Oh, hi.
New show change. No more intros. We're just going to go.
You know,
It's Wednesday, and we're going to try to answer your listener questions. And, hey, Newell.
Yes.
We've got not one, but 2 Annette questions.
Ooh.
Make Annette work over here.
That's right.
No.
Yeah, first question is from Larry. It says, we'll be staying at the Contemporary during the holidays. We've been saving for this trip since Scopa was trading valuable spices. Where do you recommend us going for New Year's Eve? Which park and where to eat? We have a 7-year-old daughter. That's not for Annette, obviously.
Yep, that myrrh was valuable. That myrrh. Pretty valuable.
I'm going to get frankincense this time of year.
Well, I think, Len, you always recommend Epcot for major holidays, and New Year's Eve would certainly be one of those, right?
Epcot for New Year's Eve, yes. Sorry.
Okay. Any suggestions where to eat on New Year's Eve at Epcot?
Oh, geez, you got to get your reservations as soon as they become available. The best places in Epcot, the places that we like. I mean, Tutto Italia, I know Scopo doesn't like it. I think it's good. Beer Garden, always rated highly, and then La Celia if you can get into it. But again, you really have to call, for those places, literally 90 days out if that's the policy in advance, and you got to do that like at 7 a.m.
Yeah, and Larry, the other good thing, I would also back up what Len said. Beer Garden's a great option. I think your daughter will really like it. The entertainment there is quite good, so I think that would be good.
And the food's really pretty good too, yeah.
Larry adds, I noticed that Annette is not a character on the website since she laughs like Betty Rubble. Obviously looking forward to seeing her character for the fabulous one. I hope you guys get to this before we take off.
Wait
a minute. I laugh like what?
Betty Rubble.
Can't help it. Sorry.
Well, we've got another Annette email. It's from Craig Duncan, who writes, Hi all. Rather than an intro, Annette should have a theme tune. I'd suggest She Is So Lovely by Scouting for Girls. Check it on iTunes.
What?
Oh, cool.
What?
Oh, I have my own song?
I've never heard that
You have
song
your own song. Wow.
Wow. I haven't heard that one before. But Len, as our Van Halen connoisseur, is there a Van Halen song that evokes a certain je ne sais quoi about Annette?
A certain.
Oh, be careful. Be very careful.
About Van Halen. Oh, geez, I'd have to go back into the archives and look on that.
She's not a California girl, so I guess that one.
Yeah, that stuff. Plus, that was a David Lee Roth
David Lee
song.
Roth, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that we'll get many suggestions of what Annette's theme song should be. Although evidently the Flintstones is appropriate from what we're hearing. So
it sounds that way.
Meet the Flintstones.
I was back with the Scopa.
Modern Science Family.
Somebody just did the Betty Rubble laugh. I don't know who it was, but
Town of Bedrock. They're a place right out of history. Let's ride with the family down the street
Through the
through the courtesy of friendly feet.
Next email is from Patrick Burke. Writes Matt, Mike, Len, Annette, and everyone else. Love the show, yada, yada, yada. I've been listening for over 250 episodes, yada, yada, yada. Keep up the good work, yada, yada, yada. My wife and I are expecting our first baby in May of this year. She's a CPA and works crazy hours from November through April. Her family owns a timeshare near the world, and we spend most of her child and adult life visiting the world. And as dating a married couple, we've only been at least 5 of the last 7 years, only skipping 1 year when her dad passed away and another year because of our marriage. I'm turning 30 this year and wanted to head down to celebrate the big day in August. However, with a 3-month-old and my brother and his wife also having a baby shortly before ours is due to come to the world, it just doesn't make sense for us for a huge family event down to the Magic Kingdom. My wife mentioned she'd like to make a trip down to Florida in mid-March. I'm contemplating putting in December 2008 in the subject line of this email, assuming you won't read it for a few months, but I'm hoping you'll take a crack at some suggestions.
Nice.
I guess we'll see what works out for me. What would you all recommend in terms of accommodations? Neither of us have stayed on property since our early childhood.
You haven't stayed on property since your early childhood, and they've got a new kid. You really?
No.
Go ahead.
Really? I thought the baby was coming in May.
Well, it depends which
It's
trip
just-
they take.
Yeah.
Oh.
Couldn't really go wrong with a moderate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe one of the Port Orleans resorts, Len.
Port Orleans.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they're the highest rated, and then Caribbean Beach Resort after that, and then Coronado Springs bringing up the rear. But yeah, you really can't go wrong. I spent some time over at French Quarter in the evening back in January, December, and it was lovely. I mean, it really comes alive at night. There's there's walkways and they're lighted and
It's beautiful.
yeah, the ambiance is very nice. We're gonna try and get some video of it. It's as soon as we can get a decent low light camera of it. Camera to take the photos with, but really it is quite nice.
Patrick adds, also, we would probably hit Hollywood Studios and Epcot one day with a brief day walking around the Magic Kingdom, and then she would like to spend a day relaxing by the pool or in the spa at a resort. There are not many Babymoon type packages on any of the websites I found for Disney, and figured with your collective great minds you can make some great suggestions. If any of the wonderful ladies from MEI are around and can offer some suggestions, or if they want to contact me, I'll gladly pay for their services to get this set up. So
She needs a day at the spa. I'm just going to tell you that now. She needs more than one day at the spa.
I think it's a great suggestion, though. I mean, it'll definitely relax her and certainly put her at ease, to say the least, depending on which trip that you take, either before or after childbirth.
And if it's before, you're going to have to go at a slower pace because, mom's got to rest and it's a lot of work to carry that extra person around the parks. Did it a couple of times, so.
Nice.
Just slows down a little bit. Not too bad, but lots of ice cream eating while you're riding because there's not a lot you can ride while expecting. So.
Yeah, I think taking it easy is a great way of putting that, because obviously she has to do that if it's before even if she comes over with a 3-month-old. I mean, it's not much you can do anyway because you got to respect the needs of the kid there. But certainly, taking it easy, going to the spa perhaps one day, doing some of the shows like Hoop-de-Doo if you haven't done that before. I mean, that can be great regardless. Although it might be tough for the kid to stay awake for that and loudness, but if you're going before, before the child is born, that might be a great option for you over there. So definitely look into some of the things that are over there in terms of maybe the nighttime activities that you haven't checked out yet. Next email is from Matthew and Bridget Swart. Writes, hey there, guys, and possible guest host. I have a question about an annual pass discount. Last year when we went and stayed at our Fort Wilderness cabins, my brother, who was getting an annual pass, put his name on our room so that we get the discount. They never asked us his annual pass because he didn't actually get in until we got there. So here's my question. Can I get an annual pass discount if I'm going to buy the annual pass when I'm down there after checking in? And if so, when will they be released? When will they be released for my trip, October 2009, and how do I go about it? It's a great question for Annette, I think.
Yep.
So if you're gonna buy it when you get down there, they could possibly ask to see the voucher, the will call slip when you check in. I've checked in without them asking for it, but I have other times checked in and they've wanted to see the voucher or some kind of proof that I had the annual pass coming. So it does depend on the cast member at check-in. If you're going to have to get the ticket anyway, you could always get the ticket and then go over.
Right, from the
Same way
concierge
ticket.
desk or something like that.
Yeah, so you could take care of that if you ran into that problem. You could go over, take care of it, and then come back over and check in. October annual pass discounts. I would say probably August. These days, it's everybody's booking so close in. We're seeing the annual pass holder discounts come in about a month and a half before travel.
Nice. Next email is from Richo, who writes, "Hey, WDW Today crew. I have a question. I have a show suggestion that I've not heard anywhere else. I figure this might be perfect for your show. A newlywed couple, age 23, staying at Marriott World Center. Staying there because of Marriott points, free stay, plus not a lot of money because of wedding, thus no Magical Express. How to get to Walt Disney World because of their age, cannot rent a car. Free shuttle must be reserved 3 hours in advance, and last pickup is at 9 o'clock p.m. How to get to all the parks, Downtown Disney, Westside, and water parks, and Universal and SeaWorld with as little money spent as usual. I would love to be on the show idea to better describe the situations." It's a great show suggestion, Richo. So I think that might be staying off site and at the mercy, it sounds like, of the hotel transportation that they provide, and trying to do it on the cheap, certainly, and with the economy the way it is, I certainly empathize with Richo. So that might be a great topic.
And you emphasize, right?
Emphasize. I emphasize with everybody.
You emphasize with them?
That's right. I emphasize everything.
What is that?
Next email is from Terry from Nashville, Tennessee. He writes, "Hey, Disney Dream Team. About 2 weeks ago, I emailed a question about room alternatives at Port Orleans Riverside. Well, I've now changed my reservation to the Wilderness Lodge, so that question is moot. Can I change my question just as I changed my reservation? My new question is this. What are the fishing alternatives at Walt Disney World? I know you can rent a boat and go bass fishing, I assume from any resort with a marina, but my son is really interested in the cane pole fishing they offer at Port Orleans Riverside.
Oh, that's a hoot. Yeah, go ahead.
I understand that there are other places in the world that offer that, but I've been unable to find more about it. This trip will include my son's 13th birthday, so I want to give him everything he wants. And by the way, if you can give a shout out to Parker, it'd make his day. So happy birthday, Parker."
Yo, Parker. So Bob and I actually did the cane pole fishing at Port Orleans back in December. Actually, Bob did it, and I watched because I thought it was a little weird. Not weird, but it just wasn't.
Wasn't up your
it wasn't what I was doing.
You didn't want to touch the fish? What was the problem?
That's it. Yeah, I was in my girly mode at the time, so I didn't feel like doing it. So no, but it's a lot of fun. So you know how you walk out the back of the resort and you sort of bear to your left and you go past that what's the bar right there? Muddy
Creek, Muddy Rivers, Muddy Waters.
Muddy Rivers, yeah. And so the bar will be on your right. Notice how I'm giving directions based on where the bar is. Anyway, the fishing place is on your left, and there's a little dock you can walk out on, and they'll rent poles and give you bait and everything like that. And I heard actually they were taking the bass out of the all of the waterways within Walt Disney World in order to get bluegill or brim, as they call them in the South, give them more of a chance to breed. So and obviously to catch more fish because they're easier to catch. So
I was under the impression also that they had these sort of fishing options at Fort Wilderness as well. So you might want to check that one out. But Bob enjoyed it since he was the one who was fishing one.
Bob did, yeah.
Did he catch anything?
Yeah, I didn't stick around long enough, and I haven't asked him, but I'll ask him this week. I could see the fish, so I'm assuming he caught something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next email's from John Shaw of Baltimore, Maryland. Right, hey guys, now that Disney has announced the end of the Million Dreams promotion, what are they going to do with the Castle Suite? Will they continue to give it away out randomly, charge for nights like a hotel room, or maybe even do away with it altogether? Thanks, guys. Love the podcast.
Didn't we have that? I think we had that question on our 500th episode too.
Yes, and the answer I thought was that they were still going to be giving it away, right? Is that what we heard?
The answer was that they were working with several organizations. Well, the rumor was that they were working with several organizations, including the Make-A-Wish Foundation, to make good use of that. Make good use of that suite. But I do recall they're probably going to use it for some promotion in the future as well.
Nice. Next email's from Gary in Minier, Illinois, who writes, Mangello, WWT crew. After taking niece, nephew, and parents on previous trips, we are now going to go by ourselves, which is with our 6-year-old daughter, my wife, and myself. We're really planning to see a lot more of the world than previous trips, as much of the time was spent being a tour guide of sorts. Our previous 3 visits were to Scopa Towers, Port Orleans French Quarter, and Port Orleans Resort. We especially love the shady cabin-like feel of Port Orleans Riverside Alligator Bayou. This year, we're going to be either at Port Orleans Riverside or Caribbean Beach. I didn't see many pics of the trees or shading Caribbean Beach Resort. Is it worth booking there for the new pool, or should we stay with what we know is a good bargain? We love the downtown Disney boats, Yeehaw Bob, and the food court. Any opinions? It's a good question, Len. What if choosing between Port Orleans, Riverside, and Caribbean Beach? What in terms of ambiance and certainly what the resorts offer, given in nature resort, what would you choose?
I mean, I like Caribbean Beach, but I like Coronado Springs too. In fact, I like all the moderates really. That being said, our readers overwhelmingly like the Port Orleans Riverside resorts better than Caribbean Beach. I think that in terms of trees and foliage, they're both equally lush. Caribbean Beach is much bigger and it's difficult. It's a long walk to get from one end of it to the other, whereas Riverside is more of a sort of a wheel
right
configuration. In French Quarter, obviously, you can walk around without any trouble whatsoever. If you're dying to try something in something different, so if you've been to Riverside a bunch and you just don't want to do it anymore, you could try Caribbean Beach. I'd say that wouldn't be bad. But try and get something closer to the one of the countries closer to the food court, because otherwise it's going to be a hike.
Yeah. I would say, just try something new. I always say, try it, and if you don't like it, you can go back to Port Orleans Riverside. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I like to go through all of them. So
absolutely. Gary has one more question. It says, also, what's the best way to get to Hoop-de-Doo? Taxis or Disney transportation to Magic Kingdom, then boat to Fort Wilderness?
Jeez.
I would say if you don't have your own car, the best way to do is probably go to the Magic Kingdom and then just take the boat over. It's a lot faster.
Depends. So there's a time and money thing, right? If you've got more money than time, take the cab.
Yeah,
it's a direct thing. But if you've got more time than money,
but even if you take the cab, you still got to take the Disney bus.
Still got to take that other bus, right?
You got to take the bus, through the resort, because you can't drive up to where Hoop-de-Doo is, to Pioneer Hall. You have to park in the outpost and then just take a bus to the settlement. So, like I said, if I were you, Gary, I would take just give yourself plenty of time, because you can take literally you can take an hour to get from your resort, go from resort to Magic Kingdom,
no doubt,
and then take the boat. So if you can plan your Hoop-de-Doo trip around the same day you're going to Magic Kingdom, then that work out even better because you already be there. So good luck, bro, as Newell would tell me.
Really.
Next email is from Martin Lewison, who writes, Dear Walt Disney World, today I love the show using Mouse Fan Travel. I'm bringing my wife and mother to Walt Disney World for Thanksgiving. Cannot find any Thanksgiving dining info. Any suggestions or tips?
You want to take a look at... All Ears Net probably has last year's menu, right?
Yeah, the things don't really change that much, especially for Thanksgiving. They offer some things. So I would definitely check All Ears for the past information. Certainly as we get closer, probably in summertime, I'd expect there to be Thanksgiving information coming out in terms of the dining options over there. Plus, the other good thing I was going to add about All Ears is they often, when they'll post news like that, they'll have posted last year's news. So if it came out in last September, 12th, you'll see there September 12th usually. So that'll give you a good idea of when to expect it also.
I was also going to add, don't forget about, right now it's 90 days in advance. Thanksgiving can book up very, very quick. So you're going to want to figure out what you want to do so you can be on the phone to make that reservation early.
Absolutely. Next email from...
I was just looking at the Google satellite imagery of Fort Wilderness to see if there's anywhere that we could drop them off. A cab could drop them off close, but there's nothing.
No,
it's surrounded by water.
Yeah.
Going back to the last question. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Next email is from Rich, who writes, Hi guys, great show. I think it was Scopa, episode 467, who said that you guys should increase the length of the podcast because you were having too much fun. I think this is not a good idea. I've been listening since the second month of the podcast when I was planning for our family trip. I tried this and the other podcasters, which have a much longer format. Your show is much better for the average traveler. The length of the show is just right. You address one topic per show and do a good job of informing. There's a little banter between each other, but not too much as to be boring. The other show is too long and tries to be too smart for the average person. Maybe try to go back to get some earlier topics and cover them more in depth now that your styles have gelled compared to those very early episodes.
Well, it's good, good comment. We've actually gone back and tried to revisit some of the...
Yeah, sure. So a lot of it's changed.
Yeah. Cool.
Next email is from Catherine in Littleton, Colorado, rather, who writes, while reading people's trip reports, a favorite hobby I've heard several people mention, searing for elusive paintbrushes while visiting Tom Sawyer's Island. Huh?
Tom Sawyer Island, yeah, go ahead.
While visiting Tom Sawyer's Island in the Magic Kingdom, but I can't find any information explaining what this means. Any ideas? So there are people searching for elusive paintbrushes.
Yeah, so the rumor is that, and I've never actually seen it, so I don't know whether it's true, or legend has it, that before the park opens each day, cast members will put, I think, 3 white paintbrushes at various locations around Tom Sawyer Island. And if you're lucky enough to find them and bring them back to a cast member, you get something. And I don't know what it is that you get, or indeed if it's even true. But that's the story.
You get to paint the fence.
Exactly, you get to paint a fence.
Anyway, should make Annette answer a few more questions here.
Yeah, I like that.
Next email is from Len Yakulo of Annandale, New Jersey. Writes, Dear Annette, ladies first. Matt, Mike, and Len. Nice name, by the way.
I like how Matt got the first. Ladies first, Matt. I'm just saying.
Happy Halloween, Merry Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Happy New Year, Happy Passover, Easter, or whichever is appropriate when you get to this question. So that would be
St. Patty's Day.
Yeah, Happy Passover, I think is next. My brother and I are planning to visit the world in October 2009, and with the new promotion, I know the exact date's in October. I'll definitely go to the week of my birthday, so I'll celebrate there and get my goodies. We're planning to stay 3 nights at Scopa Towers and then switch to the Wilderness Lodge for 3 nights. I have a question about the change. I know I have to check out of Pop Century and check into the lodge. Can I go right over and do that after checkout? I believe I've heard on the show that we need to bring the bags to the desk, but will they bring them over to the lodge, or do we need to? Also, do they go behind the deck at the lodge, or will they bring them to our room?
When you check out at the Pop, just take them to Bell Services, and they'll take them over for you. Don't lug them with you. Oh.
Yeah, they'll do it for you. It's like a couple hours, but they'll definitely do it for you.
Yeah, definitely keep a day bag of some things you might need, because it might not be in your room when you're able to get there. But then, it's up to you when you want to go check in at the Wilderness Lodge. You can go right away, or you could go in the park for a little bit and then go and check in.
Yeah, and then
Nice.
when they transfer it for you, they'll be waiting for you at the luggage services. They can bring it up to your room if you'd like. I mean, you'll likely have to tip them for the service, but I mean, it's up to you. One final question: do we get new Key to the World cards, or do we keep the same ones if they're switching resorts, Annette?
Oh, you're definitely going to get a new one, and if you're changing, to a package, you're going to have different stuff on that key. But yeah, it'd be a little scary if your key from Pop worked over at Wilderness Lodge. That'd be a little scary.
Okay. Next email is from Tanya, of Indiana, better known as Tiki Poo in the forums. Hoorah! Who writes, is having a touring plan more important than choosing the right day of the week to go to the park? My vacation is in October 2009 with a lot of family members. Not everyone will be able to do the park every day. With that, cutting back Fantasmic and Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, closing down Magic Kingdom early several nights, it's going to make my planning very difficult. What do you suggest, Len?
So we actually say this on the crowd calendar page, that having a touring plan is about 5 times more important in terms of how long you'll wait for attractions than picking the right day of the week. So to give you some idea of the relative importance of each, we've had people who have set records for the Ultimate Magic Kingdom touring plan over July 4th weekend in the Magic Kingdom, which is when we would tell people not to go. But because they were using a really good touring plan, it worked out well for them. So,
great. Next email is from Jamie Hecker of Dunn Loring, Virginia. Who writes, hello, gang. Now that the Adventurers Club is officially closed, what will Disney do with the hundreds of props in the show building? I'm hoping that it's all stowed away somewhere and that the Adventurers Club can eventually be reincarnated elsewhere on Walt Disney World property. Well, I can dream, can't I? Or will Disney World sell it off at auction or auction up to someone else? I hate to sound like a vulture, but I'd love to have a souvenir of this unique establishment. What do you say?
no surplus.
I heard that they still they had a private event over there not too long ago.
I think they have private events booked through most of 2009.
Yeah, and the stuff is it's all intact, evidently. So
yeah.
So it's not going anywhere right now because there's still several private events still going.
Yep.
Jamie's got one more question. He says, what advice do you have for anyone considering a midlife career change and working for the mouse at Walt Disney World? I'm a 40-something guy with a great job and have local roots here, and I can't get to Walt Disney World as much as I'd like. Every now and then, I find myself asking a what-if question about how I relocate the family to Orlando and work for Disney. So what realistically is out there for middle-aged career changers? Kind of off the topic of your usual questions, but I'd love to hear your thoughts. Well, Jamie, if you want to work for Disney, I hope you're prepared to make, a little bit above minimum wage and, ask people how many in their party. Because that's, first of all, right now there's like nothing being hiring for Disney in terms of anything that would remotely resemble a real career that you could really, pay the bills with. and the other flip thing I mentioned on other shows is that Disney likes to have people start at the bottom and work their way up rather than come in and say, hey, Jamie, you're a great manager at so-and-so. We'd love to have you as a manager here. Or, they just don't generally do that because, again, they like to promote within, which is promotes good corporate culture. So it can be kind of difficult if you want to kind of, I don't know how your finances work, or perhaps if you have someone else in your family who can be a breadwinner for a while, that might work. But you're going to have to definitely kind of go in there. If you want to work for the mouse, that can be an option. That's going to be maybe an issue for you. If you want to just get a regular job somewhere in Orlando, that's going to be a little bit of an easier situation. Although with the whole economy right now, it's all kind of up in the air.
Right.
Anyone else have any thoughts on that?
Monster.com is always what we use when we try and figure out where Disney's moving by looking at the types of jobs that they're hiring for.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to figure out what Disney's doing, a good way of figuring out is, well, what are they? What kind of skills are they telling you they need? So
absolutely. I'll give a tip of advice for anyone looking for a job in Orlando if they're looking to move. Make sure you put on your resume some address in Orlando, even if you have to make it up. If you really are serious about it, because when I was looking for a job, most people really glaze over resumes out of state because they just figure it's people who are like, ooh, it's a snowy day up here. Let me go see if I can get a job in Orlando. Kind of like, not really that serious about it. So if you've got a out of state address on your resume, that could also hamper your job search. Next email is from Jerry.
So we're going to use your address, right?
Yeah, that'll be it.
Everybody lives with Matt.
Everybody lives with Matt.
Next email is from Jerry from Austin, Texas. Writes, Matt, Mike, Len, and Annette, if there. I have been reading discussion boards that keep seeing references to shipping items to Walt Disney World, like cases of water, for example. I'm a fairly new listener, however, I haven't listened to all available downloads from iTunes over the past 3 months, and don't recall ever this coming up in discussion. So my questions are, do I need to guesstimate shipping time versus arrival time, or can it arrive before me? Newell, I know that you do this all the time.
Yeah,
shipping stuff down there.
Yeah, I've become a big fan of doing that. It's just so much easier, especially now that the airlines are charging for extra bags. Where I used to would pack one bag of luggage for me and then another bag of all the equipment. I just started shipping everything down. Usually, if I'm showing up on Thursday, I usually ship out on Monday, and I never had a problem with getting there on time.
Right, and of course Mike's in New York, so
right. So usually 3 to 4 days. You kind of want to get there at least a day before. I don't know how long they'll hold it for, but I like to get it there at least 1 day before.
Now, Mike, Jerry wants to know: does the hotel need to be contacted in advance? Do you ever contact them?
You know what? I do, only because I just want to give them a heads up that I'm expecting a package. They put it down on the reservation. As soon as the box comes in, they look you up, and then sometimes they'll deliver it to the room. I've had stuff already delivered to the room that I was assigned to.
Okay.
So I'm not saying that they'll do that all the time, but they've done it for me. So then again, I know Matt Hochberg, so
there you go.
Jerry writes, P.S. I have attached a picture of me napping after overdosing on Dramamine so I can make it through Mission Space. I love the ride, but come ever so close to needing the paper bag without Dramamine. Love the napping episode. And
that's great.
I think there's a picture of him on there, and he's totally passed out, which is great.
That's awesome.
Thank you, Jerry. We appreciate it.
Okay, so after you do that, you go over and you just sleep at Universal Energy. Take your good nap and then go.
Next email is from Jason of Lansing, Michigan. He writes, we're frequent visitors, but have never been to Walt Disney World during Christmas because we prefer the less crowded times of the year. How would you recommend we best deal with the big crowds in the parks?
So generally over Christmas, Disney will open the parks, like the Magic Kingdom could open as early as 8 a.m. and if it's a morning extra magic hour day, it'd be 7 a.m. Really getting there early is key for those types of things to beat the crowds there. And also going back to your hotel in the middle part of the day when crowds are at their craziest, I think really, really helps too.
Great. We've got time for one last email, so that means Mr. Newell will pick the last question of the day. You ready, Mike?
Yes, sir.
All right. Here are your options, Mike. Lousy palm trees, I hear voices, or help special anniversary to spend at Walt Disney World.
Let's go with the special anniversary.
I want to know what the lousy palm trees are.
Oh, save that for next week.
All right. Well, it's our last email of the day comes from Craig Duncan of the United Kingdom. Right. Hi again. I have another question. I've been coming to Walt Disney World for over 30 years. My two angels, who are 6 and 4, have been very lucky and have been over 20 times already. However, next summer, July 31st, is my wife and mine 10th wedding anniversary. We want to spend this day and night somewhere great in the park and resort. What do you suggest?
One night.
Yeah, something to, we want to spend this day and night somewhere great. So they're going to be there for longer than one night. But, if the day of their anniversary and that night of their anniversary, they want to do something special. I would really recommend Hoop-de-Doo. I did that on my honeymoon trip to Walt Disney World. It was really fantastic. We really enjoyed it. Wear the buttons. Make sure that they know that you're there on your anniversary, and you'll certainly get some attention, to say the least. We should do Hoop-de-Doo. Speaking of that, the four of us, or Annette in this case, that'd be a lot of fun to kind of. I know that Mike, you did it many years ago, but it'd be fun to do that again. All of us there.
I've never done Hoop-de-Doo.
See, there you go.
I would love to try.
I've done it several times. I've been on stage.
What's the earliest we could get it?
They have 3 shows a day.
What's the first one?
I forget the exact times. Yeah, it's something like that. It's like 5 or 6ish, and then there's one at like 7 or 8ish, and there's the last one's at like 9:30.
See if we can get it. See if we can get it for this coming Saturday. I'm sure it's sold out, but
ooh,
I'll try. I'll go. I'll definitely go.
I'm down.
That's what I'm saying. We're all there except for Mike.
Well, there you go. Craig will search it for you.
I come in Sunday morning, but we're in spirit.
Guess you don't count.
Sorry, Annette.
Just got booted out. Did we finish answering that question?
No, any suggestions for what they could... That was just one suggestion who could do. Any suggestions for what they could do on their wedding anniversary?
I mean, if they're over there at Hoop-de-Doo beforehand, they could do the carriage ride.
Oh, yeah.
Just with the kids, without the kids, whichever they wanted to do.
I got a great suggestion for you, Craig. Now that Annette mentions that, one of the things you can do with the carriage rides is you can actually call Disney ahead of time. And they have a special number you can call, and you book the carriage ride like you ordinarily would. And one thing you can do is you can actually get there's a package they have where, like, along the carriage ride, it'll be a regular carriage ride. And then all of a sudden, like, halfway through, the driver will be like, "Sir, I think I see something in the woods over there." And they stop the cart, they get out, and they present a glass slipper. And you can then present it to your wife, and I think that would totally blow her away. So that's
as long as she's not listening to the podcast, yeah.
Yeah, if she just listened to the podcast, sorry, dude. Better luck with your next wife. But at least, that might be an option for you there. Any other suggestions? Maybe, Len, would you recommend perhaps a night at a concierge lounge level stay, like Polynesian?
I was thinking the Poly would be fabulous. In concierge level, I mean, it's such a best of money, but still, it's
how much do you look?
Yeah, really, how much do you let me? So, but like a ground floor, first floor room at the Hawaii building where you can kind of sit out on the patio, would be fabulous. Order a bottle of wine,
nice.
Some Dole Whip.
Well, that's it for us today. Don't forget that this episode of WDW Today has been sponsored by MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. And, we get the question about planning special things all the time. You know who's really good at helping planning those special things? The great travel agents at MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. Becky and her agents are really adept at doing this. I should know because they help me plan a couple different special events, and that should know. So their agents there, along with all of them, doesn't necessarily need to be Annette. All of them are really talented in trying to help you plan your next perfect trip to Walt Disney World. So give them a try. Visit them online at www.mousefantravel.com. If you want to find our older episodes, read our show notes for questions or comments, visit the WDW website at wdwtoday.com. For our line system, Mike Scopa, Mike Newell, and the fabulous Annette Owens, I am Matt Hatchford. We'll see you on the next show. Don't forget about the tent event.
Stupid Judy, stupid energy.
This has been a production of Mouse World Radio.